Definitions are changing. This is Eli the Computer Guy. When I first came to his channel, he was legally defined as having Asperger's, but now the definition of having Asperger's has changed, which is remarkable and got me thinking. If you can just change that, then that has me asking questions about the current mental health situation where everybody has their own issues. And it went from about one in, what was it, 1,500 kids having ADHD to 1 in 36. Maybe we need to change the definition of a lot of other stuff. Maybe since we're raising kids with the ability to have so much of everything all the time, information included, maybe their ability to have information means they just have the ability to and use it, and that's part of human evolution. I don't know, but it's interesting how much everything changes. The earth changes if you don't, if you're not constructing on the earth and putting huge stone things on it. You'll notice the earth, the hills, the things will change on their own. Especially if you got a piece of land by a river. It's like chaos. Law changes based off of the definition of the interpretation of the language it's written in. There are some laws that just got flipped on their head because we interpret language differently. For example, marriage. Look up marriage from dictionaries from the last 100 years. And it goes from somewhat of an ownership to now it's more of an equal thing. And it, who knows where it's going. I strongly feel like it's our connection with technology that is exacerbating the situation, is pushing our brains forward because, like never before, we have what we crave. I mean, when I was a child, when I got home from school, there was Disney Afternoon, and that was Gummy Bears and DuckTales, and then Night Court and Cheers. That was so lame. I I but if I had the tablet there, I'd have like the next DuckTales and next DuckTales, and within those DuckTales episodes, the pacing would be faster and faster. I feel like technology is a drug, much like speed, much like an upper. Um, which is really interesting because the people who get addicted to TikTok and social media like that will generally go on medication that's kind of associated with speed. Yeah, I might not be using your word, but you know what I mean. What's a little bit messed up about the situation is I used to know a drug dealer, the guy that got me addicted to weed, and that got me onto it at least. And while I was there, the neighbor kid came in. The neighbor girl came in, and she was like 15, and she was selling her little brother's medication to him for weed. Guess what he was doing with it? So, yeah, I definitely want to have that connection. Now, when I think speed, I literally think high voltage. Or like electricity, as most people would think. But as far as electricians would go, let's say at least 110 or higher. You know, that kind like you touch, you're like, I swear to God, if you when you're on TikTok, it's like you're holding onto a rope and you're like. Whereas if you're on CNN, at least you get breaks. At least you get head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. You see what that was? At least that was a frickin' break to get your mind somewhere else, because now you're thinking about that product head on. You're going to go into work and talk about it and be like, oh yeah, that strange, crazy thing, right? I feel like we went from 12 volt to 110 overnight. Now, 12 volt, I literally seen a guy attach his nutsack to a 12 volt battery. Nothing. Like I got 12 volt down here, like right at my feet all the time. Like if you cross them, you'll get a spark, but like nothing really big. I can literally attach them to my nutsack and I will be fine. Try that with 110. I do believe, yeah, you die. You would. Oh my jeez, no, what? Oh, now I'm thinking about it. Oh, jeez. Okay, I don't even know what it is, but an electric fence. I know what it's like to get hit by one of those. It feels like you're being kicked. There's no way that's. Is that 110? Anyways, we went from 12 volt to 110, and our minds were like. But here's the thing. I don't think it's going to blow us out. I don't think there's a fuse in here that it's going to blow out the same way speed would. I think it's going to push our brains in ways that we can't comprehend. And when I say this, I want to give reference to the fact that original Bible scripts, for example, uh, let's say in this day and age we would say Brother Bartholomew got up and sat next to Brother Jebediah and questioned the universe with him and had a merry conversation about supper, when originally it was more like Jebediah approached Alberto and asked, what's in the gruel? Not exactly, but roughly. They sure as hell didn't speak Old English. I legitimately think that pushing all of this information into the brain will increase our cognitive ability. I kind of think that TikTok is part of maybe the next step in human evolution mentally, because of how quickly it can push our minds. I almost wondering if by labeling so many kids as having ADHD and not simply harnessing it, if we are doing them a disservice because we're trying to put them back. Perhaps at this point, I don't think it's a legitimate idea. I definitely think that we need to switch our education systems to meet the new criteria of the new evolving mind, and hope for the best. I'm just blown away. I'm blown away that we have such a mental health crisis, so many mental health issues going on right now. And Eli over here gets his card pulled. Like, they say that he just thinks differently now. I think we're full of individuals who think. I always thought we were all different. We're all snowflakes, right? We're all a little bit different, but we're all still snow. We're all pink on the inside. Not snow, us. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. Thanks for listening to me, and take care of each other, will ya?